everybody and welcome back to our channel, or hello if you are new here. My name is Rebecca, or I'm most known as Boo, and I'm a first time mum in the UK. If you enjoy these videos and our other videos, then please like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos. And with that being said, I'm going to get straight into today's video. Today I figured, as you can tell, I'm going to do a sit down chatty video again. The last video from the Come Shop With Me generated a lot of questions about breastfeeding, so I figured I'm just going to do like a video on mine and Everly's breastfeeding journey so far. I've got my phone with me because I've made a load of notes and I don't really want to miss anything. So hopefully what I talk about in this video might answer some of your questions. Like I said, quite a few people reached out after that video regarding breastfeeding, so I'm hoping to cover as much as possible in this video, but if there is anything that I missed, then please comment below and I'll try and get back to you. So first things first, just a quick disclaimer. I don't want this video to be taken as like me boasting about our breastfeeding journey or anything like that. It's absolutely not the case. This is just what's worked for me and Everly. Everybody, I say this all the time in all my videos, everybody is an individual, and that is what makes us so unique. So what works for me might not and probably will not work for you. I'm literally just giving you what has happened for me and Everly, basically. I'm also not a healthcare professional in any way, shape or form. If you are a new mum and you're struggling with your breastfeeding, then please contact your breastfeeding team, or if you don't have a local breastfeeding team, your midwife. I'm absolutely not here to dish out any healthcare professional advice. Like I say, I'm just giving you what mine and Everly's journey has been like, basically. So with all that being said, I'm going to start right from the beginning, like antenatal. I've not even had Everly at this point. So just to give a bit of background, Everly is almost 5 months now and we have exclusively breastfed for that whole time. If you're unsure of the exclusively breastfeeding term, it basically means that we have literally just we haven't had any like formula or anything like that. It's literally just been breastfed. So starting from the very beginning, so we're going antenatal. I've not even had Everly at this point. I took the same approach pretty much with the whole of my pregnancy, labour and the breastfeeding journey. I wanted to just be as laid back and relaxed about it all as I could be. I didn't really do any of my own research. I did some antenatal classes, I think it was like 5 weeks before I was due, and one of them was solely based around breastfeeding. So that was kind of the only knowledge that I got. I was in the mindset that I didn't want to overthink it in my head, and if anything I wanted it to come quite naturally to us. So I didn't want to over research it. Like, I knew the basics, I knew the tips and stuff that the midwife had given at this antenatal class, and I thought, right, that will do. I know I'll get the supports from the midwives once I'm in the labour room and the delivery suite, and I know that the midwives will be there to support me as well if I have any more questions. So again, took the laid back approach. I also did buy bottles, a steriliser, a bottle warmer, like you name it. I was fully prepared to formula feed as well. I had in my mind that I was like, I would love to breastfeed if it works for us, but I did have an understanding that it's a very hard journey and it doesn't always happen for everybody, and I didn't want to get disheartened or upset if it didn't happen for us. So I was very much of, you know, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not, I'm prepared. So yeah, we had the bottles and we were going to try breastfeeding, so whatever worked for us. So then when she delivered, we had skin to skin straight away, and the midwives say that this is such a key important time for bonding and stuff like that, and I was so pleased that we got to have it. They also said in the antenatal classes that babies naturally crawl to your boob and will latch themselves on. And in this class I was like a newborn crawling to your boob, not really, I can't see it happening really. Anyway, Everly did that and I was like me and Mitchell was just like, wow, like we literally couldn't believe it. So as well, it's because your nipple actually, for the baby when they come out, your nipples actually smell like the amniotic fluid in your belly, basically, which is why it's a common smell for them, and I think that's why it's so natural for them to do that. So she did that and she latched on straight away, without any intervention from me really. The midwife did help and just make sure her latch was okay, and the midwife said that she'd latched perfectly, and from that moment I was just so happy that she'd even latched from the first time. With that being said as well, there are so many reasons that aren't down to you as well why breastfeeding can't happen, like the baby's latch, your milk supply. Some women struggle with their milk supply, like not producing enough milk, then the baby's not gaining weight. Like I say about the latch, like if their latch isn't deep enough, that can cause a lot of like damage to your nipples, and then that's what creates the soreness and stuff. Mastitis, some people get mastitis really early on, which is, I've not personally had it before, but it can be really, really painful. And it is so hard to not put the pressure on yourself because you always think that it's you, but it's not. So just try and give yourself a bit of credit. I figured I would talk about some tips. So in the antenatal class, they told me about the nose to nipple. And this is what I did the whole time, like when she was first born, getting her to latch on to make sure that she was latching and getting a deep enough latch. Basically, it's natural when the baby comes out, if you put her there, I won't say her, I'm saying her because of Beverly. If you put the baby's nose to your nipple, it's like a natural instinct then for them to anchor their head back and open their mouth really wide, which then gets a deeper latch onto your boob. So because their nose will then tip back, their whole mouth will literally go around your nipple. So I used the nose to nipple religiously when she was first here, and I felt like that's what gave me a good latch with her. And as soon as she'd anchored back, I literally just shoved my boob in her mouth to make sure that it was in far enough and that she was getting a deeper latch, basically. They also told me, like, I can't remember what the word was, but it was like so many letters that made a word and each one meant something. I can only remember a few, and it was something like, make sure they're laid in a straight line. There was the nose to nipple, make sure that you are comfortable because you are sat sometimes feeding for a very long time. Everybody is different. Some people feed for like half an hour, some for like 5 minutes. Completely depends on the flow, how fast the baby feeds, etc. So I found that really useful as well. I thought I would just touch on some questions that had been recently asked as well. I always get asked, how do I know how much she's getting? Now, I don't know, like, I can't tell you, oh, she's had a 5 ounce feed, she's had a 4 ounce feed. I can't literally go into that much detail, but I literally just go off time, like how long she's been feeding for on my boob, and I will know if she's had a good feed or not. Sometimes she'll just want a drink, you know, like especially through summer on really hot days, she would just go on for a few minutes, like she obviously just needed a drink to keep hydrated. But obviously I can tell when she's having a really good feed. So I know I keep saying it, but every baby's different. Everly is quite a quick feeder. I feel like some babies do feed for like half an hour. I've got a very fast milk flow as well, and she'll literally feed, a good feed for Everly is like 10-15 minutes, and I only feed her on one boob at a time. So I'll feed on this boob, and then when it comes to her next feed 2 to 3 hours later, I'll feed on this boob. Again, some women will feed on both. It's completely personal preference. Like, just do what feels right for you and what feels comfortable for you. Like I say, I didn't research it, and I didn't know I would feed on one boob at a time or if I would do 2 boobs. That's just naturally what came to me, and it's worked for us, so I've stuck with it. Sometimes if I do think that she's still hungry, then I'll pop her on the other boob, but that doesn't really happen often, to be honest. How do I prepare for the next feed? So obviously I will know she's stopped feeding. I obviously take note of the time, and I know she will need feeding 2 to 3 hours later because that's the gap that she is going in at the moment. But as a breastfed baby, they are fed on demand, so if she starts giving me any feeding cues, and then I will feed her before the 2 to 3 hours if she is showing and indicating to me that she's hungry. That is the beauty of breastfeeding. You literally just feed on demand. It's ready whenever you need it. So we do obviously feed on demand. And then I think somebody had asked her about routine as well. So it's on demand feeding, so it's not necessarily like a routine, like every 4 hours I'll give her a bottle, or it's literally just when and if she is telling me she's hungry. She will go every 2 to 3 hours, but like I say, if she's giving me cues in the meantime, then I will put her on and let her have a drink or something. As well, I wanted to mention the difference between suckling, because I didn't actually know this. Like when they first latch on, they have like a really fast suckle like this, and that's them basically trying to get the milk flowing. And then as soon as your milk starts flowing, you'll see that their suckle like slows down and they're actually like gulping. And I didn't actually know about that until one of our family members told me about it, and then I was watching Everly, and you can actually see them doing it. All of it blows my mind, to be honest. I just think it's amazing. So the next thing I wanted to touch on then was when we came home. So obviously I spoke about being at the birth, the delivery. When we came home, I was so worried. You don't have that support of the midwife for a start, and I felt like I was gonna forget to feed her. Like I can't explain it. It's overwhelming anyway, coming home with a new baby, but then like trying to remember to feed them and stuff. Like, I was so overwhelmed with it. Luckily Mitchell was very hands-on, and he would just like pass me like, does she need feeding, does she need feeding, does she need feeding. Again, I would take note of the time. I also downloaded an app called Baby Tracker. I'm pretty sure it's free. So, and I was writing on there how long, what time she was feeding, which boob she was on, and how long she was feeding for, and that did really help me in the first few weeks. You can also track on that your nappies, nappy changes and stuff like that, because I didn't realise that midwives would be asking how many wet nappies and pooey nappies she'd had in the 24-hour period when she was a newborn. So I'd completely recommend getting that app for both of those reasons. So that really helped me keep track of when she was feeding her, when she was going to be due a feed, because at that point I didn't necessarily know her feeding cues. So I was more so going off of time, but over time I've learned her feeding cues, and like I say, we just feed on demand. When we was in the hospital and when we come home, I feel like this did help me, so I did want to say it in the video. Might not work for other people, but being proactive with the nipple balm rather than being reactive. Like, don't wait for your nipples to get sore. Just sling it on, put it on, protect your nipples whilst you can, and hopefully it will help not for your nipples to get that sore. I didn't really suffer with sore nipples. I did have one that was a bit painful for a period of time. I think it was like 3 days, but not painful enough that I absolutely couldn't feed on it. So I just powered through. So I just powered through and kept feeding. It was a bit like toe curling with the pain, but like I say, I feel like because I was proactive with the nipple cream, it did help me not get the sore nipples, if that makes sense. So I don't know if everybody has this, but we actually have a breastfeeding team, and they contact you basically when you've been discharged from the midwives. They get in touch with you, but I think basically on your first day home, then your third, then your fifth, and then your 10th, just so if you've got any questions, if you're struggling with anything. Obviously at the moment they were trying to like help us over the phone rather than come into contact with us, but they did say if I was really struggling that they would come out, have a look at her latch and make sure that everything is going okay basically. So I feel like we are really lucky to have that support. They also like discharge you after day 10 if you feel like you are doing okay with the breastfeeding. However, they do leave you on their mobile number for you. Now, I feel like I did contact them after day 10 because I had the contact number, and they're always there to help. Like, they don't mind you ringing, you're not a pester to them. So I just wanted to mention that as well. I feel like that was really helpful for me. So don't feel like you are being a pester. They are there. They're trained to be there to help you, and they are healthcare professionals. They know what they're talking about. So it was nice to have that trust in somebody. So then I was going to talk about my milk coming in. Now, I can't remember. Mine must have been like 3 to 4 days after I had Everly, my milk came in. And I feel like it happened overnight. I remember being very uncomfortable in the night time. It was like laying on rocks. I remember getting up in the morning and thinking, oh my God, my boobs have never been this big. Like I could literally see them without even looking down. They were just there, and I was like, oh my God, I've had like a free boob job overnight. So with the milk coming in, I really struggled with the engorgement. It was really sore, and it actually makes it harder for the baby to latch when your boobs are engorged, because your boob is so full, they almost kind of struggle to get onto your nipple. Now, they do advise not to pump, but I did pump, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't pump a full boob out, I just pumped to give me a bit of relief, and it did. I also, when my boobs were engorged and my milk was coming in, used a warm wet cloth, like a really hot cloth basically, and put it on my boob just as she was about to feed, to kind of loosen the boob and the milk up, to make it easier flowing for her, because they were so hard and so engorged. And I feel like that did really help, just a really warm cloth, and it just eases it. Or saying that, getting a hot bath does help as well. So I found that really helpful. So moving on to pumping, I will insert a clip of the pump that I have used just for you know, reference if anybody's looking for a pump. I mean, this is really the only one that I've used. I've not used like a manual one. It is electric, but I've had no issues with it. So I'll insert a clip of it, and I'll pop a link in the description. So like I say, the first time I pumped was when my milk came in and I was struggling with the engorgement. I found it really fascinating as well, because this milk was like a golden yellow, and then compared to my milk now, it's like white. It's so, like, I think that's obviously the, what's it called, colostrum? Is that it? I think so. So yes, I pumped when my milk first came in, and then I didn't really pump then until around 8 weeks, because the midwives encourage you to kind of do solely breastfeeding to ensure you're getting a good milk supply and you're not confusing the baby's latch with like nipple and bottle. Now, in hindsight, looking back, I probably should have pushed bottle and pumping a bit more earlier on, because Everly won't take a bottle. She's just a booby gal. She will not take a bottle. I have tried. To be fair, I haven't probably pushed it as hard as I can. And like I say, in hindsight, I probably should have started a bit earlier with her. But I feel like because I was getting the advice from the breastfeeding team not to, I almost felt like I couldn't, because I was worried that I was going to affect my milk supply. I was going to confuse her with the different teats and stuff, and that did worry me. But now looking back, I feel like I don't feel like it would have had that much of an effect. So now I'm kind of left in the rut that she won't take a bottle and she will only feed from me. But I'll get into the pros and cons of that later. Pumping, again, completely different for everybody. I can literally pump for about 10 minutes on one boob and get 5 ounces. I remember speaking to one of my friends from work, and she literally used to sit and pump for hours and only get like 2 ounces, and she used to be really disheartened by it. So this is what I mean, everybody is so different and everybody is such an individual. Also with the pumping, I've got some freezer bags which I have used because I've got some milk in the freezer, and they also say it's good to like pump for teething, like making little icicle things for them. So that's just a little tip there. I just want to speak about formula as well, because I reached out to the breastfeeding team about introducing a bottle of formula, and I was kind of made to feel that I shouldn't introduce it and that I should pump and give her my milk instead, because if I introduce a bottle of formula, then it will affect my milk supply, which again scared me. I felt so overwhelmed about it all. I was quite upset about it actually. I remember speaking to Mitchell, and Mitchell was just like, just do what is best for you and what you want to do. I'm very lucky in the aspect that Mitchell is very supportive with everything. So obviously, because I'd had this conversation with the breastfeeding team, it wasn't anything that I pursued. And again, looking back on hindsight, I feel like I was very much influenced by the breastfeeding team and kind of not doing what I wanted to do and what I felt was right for me. Like, you know, as a mum, 100% what is best for you and what is best for your baby. So please, if anything, just do what you want to do. Don't, if you think something is right for you, then you do it. Do not listen to anybody else. Like, you don't even have to listen to me, you know. Like, just do what you want to do. You know what is best for you and your baby. So anyway, I didn't go through with the formula, but I didn't even go through with the pumping as well, because the whole reason I wanted to introduce that one bottle of formula was because I wanted a bit of a longer period, so it would allow me to go off and do things. The breastfeeding team then telling me to pump was kind of a bit like, I felt like I was literally spending time then pumping to put it in a bottle to give someone else to feed her, and I could just take out that middleman and feed her myself. Does that make sense? So I kind of just thought, what is the point? Like I say, yes, we do exclusively breastfeed, but there has been times in our journey that I have contemplated, you know, giving her a bottle. It just hasn't worked. Giving her formula, it just didn't happen. Like, so yeah, I did want to touch on that. I did also want to say, like, it doesn't matter what you feed your baby. Fed is best. As long as they are getting the nutrition that they need, and they are putting on weight, they are happy, they are healthy, and you as a mum are happy and healthy. Happy mum is a happy baby. So just as long as you are both happy, that is the most important thing. I'm nearly at the end of my list, I promise. I feel like this has been such a chatty video. So I just wanted to touch on feeding in public, because this is something I was so nervous about when she was a newborn. Like, the thought of going out and having to get my boob out in public, I was like, oh my god, how am I going to do this? But it comes, your confidence grows. I mean, I don't even see my boobs as boobs anymore. They're literally just to feed Everly. Like, that is the sole purpose of them. And I kind of, in the mindset now, like, I don't really care if somebody thinks something when I'm out feeding. At the end of the day, my baby needs feeding, and that is my priority. I'm not going to let her sit and scream because you're uncomfortable with my boobs. Sorry. Not even that I have my boob on show, because I'm not. I am very discreet. I do cover myself up, so I wanted to touch on that as well. I actually get a muslin, and I will just tuck it into my bra straps at the top, and then it kind of allows like a bit of a cover for Everly and for myself. That's what's worked for me, but there are such things as well. Like, you can get this apron thing that goes over your head from Amazon. I'll link it in the description, and you can see down at them, but no one can obviously see anything that's going on in front. And the other thing that really worked for my sister-in-law, actually, she used to have like a scarf around her neck all the time, and that really worked well for her for helping feed up with covering. It does just come with time though. I think once you've got comfortable with the feeding, then your confidence grows. And like I say, your baby needs feeding, and you just do it. Just trust yourself, mama, you have got this. The other thing was essentials. So my essentials for breastfeeding, obviously bras. I firstly use the ones from M&S. Now, these have done me well, but they have started to fray a bit at the top, which is a bit annoying, but they are good. I thought they would last a bit longer, to be honest. And then H&M have got a really good like mama range. They do some vest tops that have almost got like a built-in bra, and I found them really helpful. They've also got a really good range of nursing bras as well. So I would say H&M and M&S for bras. Nipple cream, obviously. The I can't even say it. Lanolin something. That nipple cream. Nipple pads, because your boobs leak, whether you're gonna formula feed or breastfeed. When your milk's first coming in, your boobs will leak. And to be fair, mine still leak now, so if I'm feeding on one boob, my other boob will let a bit of let down out and leak. So nipple pads, absolutely. Muslins, like I say, for hiding, and I tend to put one like under my arm between me and Everly as well, because she will like dribble milk and it always goes down my arm and on my clothes. And a pump, obviously, if you are wanting to express and, you know, bottle feed alongside as well. So last but not least, I just wanted to talk about the pros and cons that I have found with the breastfeeding. Pros, it is ready, it is there, ready to go whenever she gets hungry. Like, she doesn't have to wait. I don't have to, you know, faff around trying to sort her bottle out quick while she's screaming the house down. You know, just get my boob out and feed her. I also feel like I have loved it. Like, I feel like it's a great connection for me and Everly. Like, I kind of like selfishly that only I can feed her, which leads me to the next part of the negatives, because Mitchell really struggled at first with the fact that she didn't need him, if that makes sense. Like, she obviously needed me because she needed me to feed her, and Mitch felt like she never wanted him because she didn't need him. Like, she knew she wasn't going to get her milk from Mitch, and I think he never thought they would get a bond and stuff, but now it's just completely different. Their bond is amazing. She's absolutely a daddy's girl, and I'm just Daisy the cow because she knows that she gets her milk from me. But so what other cons did I find? Yeah, again, with like I've said, I did really struggle with the not getting any me time, but I think I've learnt now that me time is not really a thing when you become a mum. It is important to make me time, but obviously you have so much time beforehand, and the only person you have to worry about is yourself. It's a big change overnight, and now I'm used to it. It doesn't really bother me. Like I said, I was really upset about, you know, her being attached to me all the time, and now I'm very much the mindset of, I know she's not going to feed like this forever, and when it stops, I know I will miss it. I won't be upset because, you know, it's the best thing that I've ever done and I've had a really lovely journey with it, but I know that I will miss it. So now I'm just lapping it all up, making the most of it while it's still happening and enjoying every second of it basically. And I think that's it really with everything. So like overall, I just wanted to say that our journey has been really positive. You know, we've been really lucky to have the journey that we have, and I'm so grateful that it has turned out the way it has for us. So I hope this video has helped and maybe answered any questions that you might have had. If there is something that you wanted to ask that I haven't necessarily touched on, please comment in the description and I will get back to you. But thank you so much for watching and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!